Okay, so I'd like to start this off by saying that this is not what I intended to upload this month. I had something completely different uploaded. Not uploaded, but ready. And I decided to do this instead because I just beat Fable 3, and I'm pretty upset about that game. I have a whole list here of things I didn't like. So this is really last minute stuff because I just want to get this out there. Didn't like the game. This is going to be a rant, so don't expect any editing. Maybe I'll throw in like a funny meme or Tobuscus video every now and then.
Do you like waffles? Yeah, we like waffles. Do you like pancakes? Yeah, we like pancakes. Do you like French toast? Yeah, we like French toast.
Other than that, it's going to be pretty untouched. So the first thing I'd like to get into is the combat. Whew, boy, do I dislike the combat in this game. So you know how most 3D games, you can lock on to a target, right? And that helps you stay on them because, it's a 3D space and that's difficult to navigate with normal controls. Unless, you're cheating with the lock on, essentially. This game doesn't have a lock on. And this is going to be something you notice a lot when I'm talking about this game. It's too inventive for its own good. Way too inventive for its own good. How the combat works is that you hold the left stick towards whoever you want to attack. And it's like, what the fuck is this? You know how annoying that gets? That means, unlike in every other Fable game that I ever played, which is two games, and all those other ones, you could be backing away from the enemy and shoot at them, so you're gaining ground and hitting them at the same time. That was really helpful. You can't do that anymore, because as soon as you press slightly to any direction that isn't exactly pointed at the enemy, it just goes somewhere completely random. Also, this is maybe one of the most mildly infuriating things. It's the fact that when you are standing close to any object in the game while fighting, if your swing goes into that, it will cancel the swing. Can you believe that? It'll just fucking cancel the swing. You know how annoying that gets? The game developers got together and said, hey, let's punish the player for standing next to something while they're fighting an enemy. Oh my god, it was so bad, the combat. It takes a lot of getting used to, and that's okay, I guess, because the getting used to part, that's okay. Because in Fable 2, the combat was drastically different from Fable 1, but I got used to it alright. Fable 3, however, there's another thing about it, is the weapons. This is another point I want to go over, and this directly ties into combat, so they'll be kind of mashed together. The weapon system in this game is so stupid. It is so unbelievably stupid. Basically, it's like, hey, here's your starting weapons. Guess what? They upgrade with you. Depending on how you play, they'll be upgraded differently. And I'm like, hey, that's pretty sweet. Now, this is going back to the too inventive for its own good thing. The weapons, the everything in that game has no stats. That game is not structured like an RPG when it comes to the menus, even though it is one. Just normal Fable from 2004 had menus that were easier to navigate than what this game has. I couldn't figure out how to sell things until basically the end of the game, because you have to go to some stupid pawnbroker instead of selling it in stores. That severely limits the economy aspect of the game, which was pretty fun to play, the economy in Fable 2. God, that was a bad part. Okay, the fact that this game isn't organized like an RPG, even though it is one. You don't see your health bar. Your health bar doesn't exist. Your screen just turns red like you're playing a COD game. I'm getting off topic. We were talking about weapons. Weapons, like I said, you can't see the stats for anything. So when the game tells me your base weapons will upgrade with you and become extremely powerful, and every other weapon in the game has a cap, or has a shown cap for how powerful it can get, and your base ones don't, what do you think? You're obviously going to think, oh, so the more I use these ones, the better they'll get, and the other weapons are kind of specialized things. That's what I thought. So I'm playing the later parts of the game. I'm getting my fucking ass handed to me, time and time again, each battle. And then I buy a new hammer, and guess what? Easiest combat in the world. So good. Problem, you see the problem here. Turns out certain weapons are better than other weapons, but the thing is, you have no way of knowing that because you're never shown the stats. I just have to go out and field test every weapon. Like, honestly, that's so stupid. Why would they do that? Like I said, too inventive for its own good. Way too inventive for its own good. Utterly ridiculous. I'm going to segue into more broad gameplay now, because like I said, way too inventive for its own good. There's no pause menu. No pause menu. You press pause, you get transported to the Sanctuary. Or if you've played Fable 3, you know what the Sanctuary is. It's a little room that has all the things you can do in a pause menu in it, right? There you go. No pause menu. Another thing that just isn't really RPG. And like, I heard it put a pretty good way. If no one else is doing it, it's probably not good. That is so true to so many aspects of this game. Because if no one else is doing it, if no other RPG is doing this, why would you think it's a good idea? I understand being inventive and trying to renew this type of genre of games. But the thing is, this is so detached from what made Fable, the original Fable, and Fable 2 good, that, like I said, too inventive for its own good, it's just bad gameplay that doesn't feel finished in certain aspects. Like the fact that they tell you... I'm going back to the weapon thing. Like, I was so frustrated with that. That's a huge problem with the game. Now, I'm going to go on to my second point. This is pretty detached from the gameplay stuff. All the other gameplay in the game, I'd say it's alright. There's nothing too big to talk about there. You know, pretty standard stuff. It's just like Fable 2 in every other sense, I guess. Well, maybe not every other sense, but it's kind of like Fable 2. So, I'm going to go into villains now. Specifically, what I think makes a good Fable villain, and how they failed miserably at doing that in Fable 3. Fable 1. Your enemy was Jack of Blades. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of spoilers for Fable 1 and Fable 2. I'm not going to say Fable 3 because you don't care. It's a bad game. But if you don't want to hear those first two spoilers, skip ahead to this time code, okay? Alright. I'm going to talk about Jack of Blades now, from the first game. He was the main antagonist of the first game. He was a great villain. He was a terrific villain. His intro scene is a perfect example of how Fable did its villain so well. You want to hear his intro scene? He's not introduced as a villain. Now you may be thinking, oh, the good old-fashioned twist villain. No. The game knows you're not an idiot. If a guy comes up dressed like this, they know you're going to automatically assume he's the bad guy. So they don't do a twist good guy either, just in case you're wondering that. He's the bad guy. You know it the first second you see him. I know it the first second I see him. So Fable's just like, all right, everyone knows, whatever. But they don't introduce him as a bad guy. What they do instead is he is the guest of honor for the tournament that you are competing in, a gladiator-style tournament. That is really freaking cool because the arena, that's what it's called, has been talked up the entire previously in the story. The arena's been talked up a lot, so it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal, and for him to be the guest of honor, and from him just coming back from adventures outside of Albion, that tells you that he is a well-respected, and in some scenes he even seems well-liked by the people of Albion at first. Well-respected, well-liked, incredibly revered hero. Because he is considered a hero at the time. Jack of Blades. That is freaking cool. You know? Isn't that intro just amazing? And like I said, when he starts doing bad stuff, Fable's not like, oh man, who could be doing the bad stuff? What was it, the guy dressed like the main antagonist? They know you're not stupid. They know you know it's Jack of Blades. That introduction was strictly to set up his character. And that is, beautiful. Sure, there's some dialogue that's said between you and some other people in the game. But that's okay, because, like I said, it's done pretty well. And now to move into why I think that makes a good Fable villain. That is simply done. He is later in the story revealed to have simple motives of wanting to take over Albion. He murders your family, all of them basically, except your sister.
Evil had come to Oakvale, her past once again bandits wielding torches and steel, memories returning and blazing fire in their path. Oakvale was burning. She watched in silence as the bandits tortured her blood-red flame.
But the reason he's doing that is so that there can be no one standing in his way. Pretty epic, I know. It's so simple, yet so well told. Like I said at the first part, the way he's introduced, you heard that. That was incredibly well told. So much is told about Jack of Blades from him just standing on a podium above you and not saying anything the entire tournament. Fable is about simple bad guys, but incredibly potently told. Now we're going to move on to Lucian, who did a really cool thing and shot your sister, and then you out of a building like 6 stories in the sky. That intro to him is already pretty unnerving, because unlike Jack of Blades, Lucian in the second game isn't immediately the bad guy. He basically is, but he isn't immediately. It's not off the bat when you first see him. When you first see him, you have been invited to the Royal Palace, and he seems fairly friendly with you. Then he runs a test on you, he starts freaking out, shoots your sister, and then apologizes before he shoots you out a window.
I'm sorry.
Cool, I guess. That right there tells you, okay, he really wants to do something. And his conviction to that is scary. Boom. Very potently told. He did 2 things. Boom. That's it. You just need a really nice way to tell these simple characters. If I were to say that Jack of Blades' plan in Fable 1 is deep, I'd be lying to your face. If I were to say Lucian's plan in Fable 2 is deep, I'd be lying to your face. If I were to say Logan is a good villain in Fable 3, I'd be lying to your face. So now we're going to get on to Logan. And, yeah. Commencing Logan section. And I want you to remember what I told you about the previous two villains. Oh, also it's important to note that for Lucian, it is set up by your sister talking that he is alone. And then it's confirmed by Teresa later that his family has died. And then it's revealed pretty swiftly that he wants to take over the world. No, not take it over, destroy the world, so that a better one can come. It's like Jack of Blades, but with one more step, you know. All right, now we're really beginning the Logan section. You want to hear how Logan is introduced? Logan is your brother in Fable 3. And you shimmy on over through the castle, do some bullshit. Then it's like, oh man, Logan's killed an innocent. You want to hear the first thing I thought of? Why'd he kill him? They don't even say innocent. They say worker. I'm like, why'd he kill the worker? What did the worker do? Did the worker offend him? This is a monarchy after all. We rush to Logan and it's like, Logan, you gotta cut it out, my dude. And then Logan's like, nah, man, I ain't doing that. And then he gives you the option to choose between him murdering your sweetheart or a bunch of peasants. And it's like, what is this? That is so bad. Like, that's like 80 steps and we've learned nothing about Logan. Like, actually, why did that happen? I don't know. Ugh. Now, Logan being a bad villain doesn't stop there. You have no idea what his goals are at the start. It's revealed what his goals are at the end. I don't care if this is spoiling Fable 3, but, you know, the world's going to end from the darkness. That's why Logan was being a tyrant, to try and prepare the kingdom for it. That's dumb, though. Jack of Blades, it didn't matter if you knew what his plan was. What mattered is that he killed your family, and you knew it. That's what made Jack of Blades a compelling villain, because you wanted revenge. Lucian, it's revealed he wants to end the world, and he shot your sister. So it's revenge, and you must stop him at all costs. Logan, he killed a poor person. Maybe a group of them, if you chose to kill the peasants. Why do I care about stopping Logan? Actually, what is this? Anyway, so after you're outside of the castle, after you rebel or something, I don't care. After you're outside of the castle, Teresa shows up. Teresa's in this game too, by the way. Teresa shows up and it's like, hey, you want to see what your brother's doing? Then you cut to a horrible cutscene of Logan in a dimly lit room talking to a map, evilly monologuing to himself. Like he's evilly monologuing to a map. Excuse me. A fucking map. And he's like, oh, this is my Albion. This is my Albion. I'll have it destroyed or something if I have to. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh my god. What is this? I have a freaking headache from how bad this writing is.
This is my Albion. Its cities will bow to my law, or they will burn. Its mountains will bend to my will, or they will fall. This is my Albion. Its people will do as I say, or they will die. Its future will be as I decree, or it will end. I've seen what must be done, and nothing will stand in my way. We will be greater, and we will be stronger, no matter what sacrifices we must make. This is my Albion, and I will see it destroyed before I surrender it.
Oh my word, Logan is so bad. Like, you understand how there's no reason to fight against Logan. and his motives were, well, I got to become a tyrant to save the people. That's his motives, which are fine, I guess, but the problem is they're not revealed soon enough for me to be fighting against them. By the time they are revealed to you, he is a deposed monarch. Why did you do that? Teresa could have been like, if you don't stop your brother, this invasion of the darkness is going to kill us all. And you can be like, I gotta fight my brother to save Albion. The cliche of saving all of Albion again. But, like, that would still work better. You'd be more motivated. I would care about the villain, because other than he's a tyrant, I have nothing to hate him for. Nothing. Nothing at all. My God, it's so bad. All right. I'm gonna skim over Logan. Do you honestly care? Like, there's only so much I can say about him. He's so nothing. All right, I'll say one more thing. It's pretty funny. I spared him in the game. The game clearly didn't want you to do that, because when you spare him, he's like, "My troops are now yours." Then a later quest, Paige, which is just a less annoying whisper, is like, "Hey, without your brother's troops, crime rate's going up." It's like, Paige, what are you talking about? I have my brother's troops. They fight for me. It's like the devs couldn't be bothered to add like a different set of dialogue where it's like, man, our troops are all in the desert where the darkness is, so crime rate's going up. No, they don't care. I didn't care about that game either, but, like, come on, guys. All right, that's enough of Logan. I don't care enough for that. Side content. Now, before we go into side content, I'm gonna have a little before thing to really emphasize how the side content sucks. The before thing is the fact that you are a voiced protagonist. The first two Fable games, you were not a voiced protagonist. You were not a voiced protagonist, okay? Voiced protagonists are weaker narratively than voiced ones. So it's clear they wanted to be like, well, we want the main character to have more personality and more of a strong position in the narrative, so we're going to have him be voiced. Problem with that is, he's not voiced anywhere but the main game. Every other piece of content except the main story, he doesn't talk. You go to good games with voiced protagonists, like Far Cry 3, Jason Brody, he always talks. He always talks. He has louder grunting noises when he gets injured because, that is Jason Brody who's in pain, not you. In Fable 3, your grunts are very much silent. That's something I noticed about voiced and non-voiced protagonists. If they're voiced, their grunts are louder. Your grunts aren't that loud. And Jason Brody talks in all the side quests. All of them. Well, that's an exaggeration. I'm going to look like an idiot if I say it isn't, because I know he doesn't talk in some of them, but he does talk in a fair bit of them, okay? Because he is Jason Brody. Like, you can't have it both ways, game. You can't have the immersion of a silent protagonist, of really putting yourself in their shoes, like the first two Fable games, and have him voiced. That's not how this works. I don't know if they actually wanted it to work both ways like that, or if they were just lazy and didn't bother recording dialogue for the side missions. But you can see how if they are lazy, that hurts the game. The narrative is worse now, because you expect your character to talk, because he should be a character. And then he doesn't talk at all for all the side content. You jump back into the main story, it's jarring, the fact that he's talking again. I remember whenever Walter would say something to me in the desert mission, I would say something back, and then he would just jump in and cut me off. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not this character. Whoops. It's not like he has my name. It's not like his name is literally mine. No, I'm not this character. No way, guys. He's a voiced protagonist. It's literally impossible for me to be him because he's voiced. The fact that he's voiced makes it so hard to get into the story, in my opinion, to really feel immersed in it. Like Far Cry 3, you were Jason Brody, you know? Like, Jason Brody wasn't you, obviously, because he's a video game character, and I can never be fully immersed as Jason Brody, but I was Jason Brody. I was playing as Jason Brody. And I was doing what I thought Jason Brody wanted, with the choices. I didn't choose Citrus or whatever her name is, by the way. Now, the payoff to the side content. This is the main problem I have with the side content. The voice thing was just to, like I said, the before thing to tell you how bad it was. Because, it's like I said, that's a little cringe. The payoff to the side content is so minuscule, so minute. I do all of these huge missions, all these horrid collectathons, which, in case you're thinking, oh man, what do you hate collectathons? No, I don't. Banjo-Kazooie's a fun game. I hate this game when it's a collectathon, which it's a collectathon for about 1, 3. Oh my god, it's actually 3. Oh my god. Oh. Okay, you don't understand. Like, each of those 3 takes approximately an entire lifetime if you don't look up a walkthrough. Which I did, because I didn't care. But, like, that's still a lot of running around and wasted time. I mean, I know playing the game is a waste of time, and I should have been wiser, but I don't know, I at least expected good payoff to it. Speaking of payoff, the end of the story is bad, but we'll get into that. I'm going to talk about things I liked real quick. Music. Music's good. I respect them for bringing back how each area has its own theme, basically. First Fable had it, second Fable got rid of it. Wasn't a big fan of that. Wasn't a fan at all, actually. Third game, brought it back. Love it. It's great. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. They also brought back staged cutscenes, I guess, because they're all in game because you can see what your character's wearing. But they brought back the ones where like you would do more than just like walk next to someone. In Fable 2, all the cutscenes, your character didn't do anything that was out of the realm of what you could do while controlling them. That really hurt the story of Fable 2, in my opinion. And the fact that Fable 3 brought it back is good. I like that. I liked that. First game had those types of cutscenes. I remember playing Fable 2, actually, and I missed them. Yeah. What's the moral of this story? Fable 1's the best game, because each game after that has something that it shouldn't have had, and that Fable 1 did better. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. What's another thing I liked? It's really hard to think of anything. That game wasn't very good. Is that it? Oh, the mini game. The mini game where you shot Hollow Men with a cannon. No, mortar with a mortar. That was cool. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's all the good things in that. Now let's get into the story. The story, like I said, voice protagonist, but also not one at the same time, really messes you up when it comes to enjoying the story, which you wouldn't even if he was all silent or all voiced. You wanna know why you wouldn't enjoy it? Because it's not a good story. The story is told very poorly. Like that Lucian thing. Imagine that, but for the entire game. Also, the story can be beaten in like 2 minutes. They clearly want you to play a ton of side content in between missions. Which, like I said, since he's not a voiced protagonist, that only ends up hurting it. But, yeah. It's so short. The story is so short, at least short feeling, that I had no idea how old my guy was supposed to be. Fable 1. there are time jumps. Okay, I'm at least like 40 or like mid 40s by the end of Fable 1. I can say that for certain. Fable 2, you're a kid, time jump of 10 years, then the game really starts. So what? I'm like 18 or something. Then another time jump of 10 years, so I'm like 28 or something. Maybe even 30 because of all the time that's passed in it. Maybe even mid 30s, depending on how much time I spent in Albion. But I have a range. Mid 30s or early 30s. Cool. Fable 3, I swear that entire game's campaign happened in 1 week. The only time it felt, it really felt like time was passing was at the very end when it was simulating a year going by. Oh God, that was, yeah, it was bad. Yeah, I have no sense of time. It doesn't feel like a grand adventure because it feels like it's only been a week, and it's not that enjoyable of a story. Everything has potential to be good. All of the characters have the potential to be well written. The problem is they aren't, and their fun personalities are really kind of annoying to at a point because of how poorly written they all are. Like I didn't care about Ben Finn or Paige or Walter or uh short old man. I didn't care about those people. I just didn't care. Like it's that simple. And if you don't give a damn about your your entire character roster, why are you playing the game? Like actually, why? And yeah, like I said, they just completely leave characters in the dark. Each character is introduced and has like 5 minutes of screen time except Ben Finn and Walter. And Walter, even then, like I said, the story's told so fast that yeah, every character feels like they get 5 minutes, even if they didn't. Even if they had like the most screen time, like Walter or Ben Finn. Look, honestly, it's just bad. Can I think of anything else to complain about? Oh, I just remembered a thing I liked. The jobs, the jobs. They really made those bearable. Fable 2 jobs, whoo damn. Oh man, I want to kill myself while working those jobs. Fable 3, they're actually kind of fun. I respect that. Yeah. And yeah, it's a bad game, you know? Like I'm sorry. You have that whole mini fandom for it, which I've been to that fandom before. I went there trying to find like playthroughs telling me where all the gnomes were. I've been to the fandom. It's really gross. Not gross. That makes it sound disgusting, but it's really cringe because it's just you're either a pervert who wants to do it with Paige, or you're a pervert who wants to do it with Ben Finn. Those are pretty much your two options if you're in that fandom. Look up any fan art from that game. It's all going to be done by some late. It's all being done by some 20-something-year-old woman who's desperate to get in Ben Finn's pants. Like it's just yeah. It's like I said. It's cringe. I didn't like the fandom going on that fandom. It was cringe. And then yeah, you look at anything and it's like, oh man, Whisper. Oh man, I was thinking of something good. Whisper is well written, even though she's annoying. She's well written. Why couldn't Paige take a page from her book? All right, I'll stop. I'll stop now. That's where I'm calling it quits. Yeah, but I'm gonna quickly finish my thought. Yeah, all the guys are like, oh man, Paige, and all the girls are like, man, Ben Finn. And it's like, can you guys stop? Just stop. And while we're on the topic of stopping, can we stop making Fable games? Uh, like I really want another one. Who doesn't? Who's played that game franchise? Honestly, it's an incredible game franchise for the first one. Then the second one set up the death of the franchise, but it's still a fun game. Who doesn't want another Fable? Problem is, I don't trust them. I really don't trust them to make it. I'm afraid they're going to make another Fable 3, and that's... Oh, that's a horrifying prospect. You know how bad Fable 3 was? I just talked about it for over 30 minutes. You should. Yeah, ugh. Ugh, Fable 3, gross. I just... I'm just hoping. I'm just hoping that if they do make another Fable, it's good. I would really like that. Just listen to what I said. I'm throwing out this list, but listen to what I said, and don't do the things I said were bad, and do the things I said were good. You know, like the cutscenes. Keep those cool cutscenes. The music, keep the music good. The characters, write them better. Logan, he sucked. Learn how to write villains again. The first two were really nice. Really nice, simple. Logan isn't simple. Also, I'm gonna go back to Logan real quick because I feel like I kind of cut myself short there. Logan has a bunch of followers, and we don't know why. He's a tyrant, and we're never given insight to how people are able to follow him. Now, I know you have stories like Star Wars where the Empire is evil, and there's no explanation to why so many people follow them. That'd be fine if they were just like that. Problem is, the previous two games gave an explanation for the evil guy's minions, so I kind of expected an explanation in the third game. First game, Jack of Blades makes his minions with like magic. Second game, Lucian, it's really long and complicated, and this is getting long enough already, so I'm gonna cut it short. If you want to know what Lucian does, go play the second game, but not before playing the first game. All right, now I'm really done. Okay, I just really needed to get this out of my system. And if you made it this far, I'm just gonna say this right now, that what I said to you at the beginning about this being a rushed thing, that's true. However, it's not true that I had something else prepared. That was a lie, so that you guys wouldn't get mad at me, because I haven't been working at all on that big project I promised. I'm sorry, but I have next month. I have next month to do it. Okay, we're keeping the monthly uploads strong. We're gonna make it through an entire year. Monthly uploads day after day. Also, side note, this is really the end, trust me. Side note, both my little Dark Age videos have been taken down. So, well, they've not been taken down. They've been, quote, banned, or no, quote, ban in all countries. So, you know, it's still out there probably. You know, I bet you someone can watch it if they're like on the International Space Station. That you know, they'll be enjoying them. I'll still get views. All right. Later. I hope this convinced you to play Fable 1 and only Fable 1, because it's not worth it after that. All right, bye.